Hey everyone, welcome to Climb Out of the Cubicle's first Monday workshop. Each first Monday of the month, I hold a completely free workshop hosted for anyone who would love to participate. And this workshop is to just give away free training, no sales pitch at the end, just free training to get everyone organized and excited and living a really, really productive life. So for this month, we are talking about how to stay organized with your calendar and with a task manager. I personally have Apple products, I use iCal, but all of these tips and tricks work with iCal, and I'm sure with any other calendar that you use online as well. So thanks everyone so much for coming. This is really, really exciting for me. I'm gonna check my email, make sure that wasn't Alicia emailing me. No, okay, focus. Okay, so why are we here? We're here because productivity is highly, highly important. It doesn't matter if you are a student, it doesn't matter if you are starting a new job, it doesn't matter if you're starting a new business. Being productive is highly, highly important for everyone. And I'm going to show you what works for me because I think I'm pretty productive. I can just bang out some blog posts, I can bang out training, and I feel really productive at the end of the day. So I want to share all of the ways that I'm productive with you also. I want to be clear that this is not just about scheduling things in on your calendar. This is not just about scheduling in your vacation or work trips or things like that. This is way more, and I'm going to get into all of the details in just a little bit. But we have 5 objectives for today. First, I want to talk about time blocking and what time blocking is and how it's different than a task manager. I also am going to talk about tools that I use to make this super easy. And I also want to make sure that we understand the way that we're spending our time. You'll be able to look back on your calendar and see how you really spend your time to adequately prepare for the future. And I'm also going to show you how to set up your calendars, and I have screenshots from my personal calendar in the workbook to help you also. And again, like I said, all of this is transferable to Google Calendar or to any calendar that you use. They all work the same. So I just happen to use Apple products, but you use whatever you want. So let me do a quick introduction of myself. My name is Amber Monaco, and I am traveling around Southeast Asia as a digital nomad. Currently, I'm living in Bali, but I've lived a few places the last 6 or so months, and not sure where I'm going next, to be perfectly honest. I'm just traveling around and doing the whole business thing, so that's exciting. But this all started in November. Prior to November, I worked for the government on and off for about 10 years, and I got, pretty bored working with the government. So I put myself in every activity possible. I joined 3 sports leagues. I started going to the theater. I started going to any lecture. I just wanted to do anything that I could to not be bored. So I had to figure out a way to make my calendar work for me, to keep track of everything and to make sure that I got to do what I wanted to do. Those skills have transferred now that I'm an entrepreneur, and now I can keep track of everything that I do and all the projects that I work on, and it is super easy. So I just want to show you how I do it all. So I think that this is important for a couple of reasons. I think it's important that we react to time on our terms and not the other way around. I also think that it's important to not have to worry about remembering anything. There's always that thing where you're like, oh, I wonder if that person's going to follow up. I should really check in on that 2 weeks later. If you write it all down in your task manager, then you never have to think about what's coming next or worry about if I remembered to do something. And like I said, it's a really good way to keep track of all of your projects and make sure that you're working on the right things at the right time. Okay, so where do we even begin? What is time blocking? Time blocking is a really general guide to how you're going to spend your day. Just a brief overview of the way that you want to organize your day. Not specifics, just very, very generally. And things can move and change and be organic as things come up in your day, but it's just a general visualization of how you plan to spend your day. But you must include all of the important parts of your day in your calendar to give yourself a holistic view of what's really happening. So a task manager is something very, very different. A task manager could be your paper planner, it could be Todoist, your notes app, Basecamp, Trello, Evernote, whatever you use to keep track of the very specific things that you're doing through the day, that is your task manager. So the difference is time blocking is a very general, holistic view of your day, and a task manager is the specific nitty-gritty. And there's one secret to making this all work, and I'm going to tell you at the end. So you got to stick around. Okay, break out your workbook, friends. We are on page 5. Page 5 of your workbook, and I'm going to show you exactly how to set up your calendar. So page 5 of the workbook. When you go to set up your calendar, it's really important to make different calendars that you color code, and then you can kind of frame things off of it that way. So in the illustration on page 5, this is an actual screenshot from the iCal app that I use on my computer that then translates to my phone. And this just shows you the very general things that you do throughout the day and how you organize your day. As you can see, I have a whole bunch of calendars on there. I have holidays in the US, and I have holidays in some of the places that I visit. I have my personal calendar, which is like having dinner with my friend. I have my sister's calendar because my sister and I are really close and I want to know when she goes to the orthodontist. I have work stuff. I have, man, I don't even know. What's on here? Reminders. So I use reminders as like, hey, don't forget to do this that one time, that one day. Very general things. I have appointments for my business. 17 Hats is the online organization system that I use to keep track of my clients. All of that integrates in. I have holidays. I mean, a whole bunch of stuff. I also have Google because, you know, I have a Gmail account like everybody else in the world. And if you send me an invite via your Google Calendar, I want that to integrate and show up on my iCal. So I have all of these different calendars that work together. The really great part is that you can share these calendars with people. So like I said, I share my calendar with my sister because my sister and I are really close and we're, you know, we want to keep track of each other all the time. But if you have a virtual assistant, if you have a coworker, so anyone like that, you can share a calendar with. And if you have broken them up into a whole bunch of different calendars, then you can share just one specific calendar. So if a coworker needs to know, you know, just appointments that you're doing with specific clients, you can share that one calendar with them. They don't need to know when you're going to the dentist. They don't need to know when you have a date with your husband. They just need to know that one section. So it's really important to make these different calendars so that you can share them with the people who need to see them. So the next thing you want to do is create an event. So flip the page, move to page 6, and this is exactly how you create an event in iCal. Again, this will work with your Google Calendar also. When you're ready to make an event, you double click in your calendar and a new little screen pops up. You write in the event title, you write in the location. If you're in the US, it'll probably auto-populate for you, which will then translate to your Google Maps. But you can also set reoccurrences, which is really cool. I'm going to show you my personal calendar in a minute, and I did not go in every single day and write, wake up, brush your teeth, go to the bathroom. I didn't do that every day. I did it one time, and then I made it a reoccurring event. So you can do that also. You can do it for daily events, monthly events, yearly events, and everything in between. So it's really interesting that you can make these events and then kind of move them around a little bit as you need to. I want to talk about some of the events that you might have. So again, like I said, you'll see my calendar in a few pages, but I also have a list here. Did I give you a list? No. Yes, at the bottom of page 6, I have a list of things that you might potentially want to make reoccurring events out of, things that you do every day, every month, that you don't want to forget about. Maybe you get up in the morning and journal every morning, and that's something that's really important to you. Put it in your calendar. Maybe you go to the gym every day, and that's really important to you. Put it in your calendar. Maybe you need to go walk your dog 3 times a day. Maybe you call your grandmother once a week. Whatever it is you do, I have a whole list of examples to kind of get your juices flowing. But if you have these events, put them in here. Put them in here. So let me give you an example of some real life things that I do. So I have some daily events, some daily events that I do every single day. I get up, I leave the house, I eat lunch, I play on Facebook. Let's be honest, you play on Facebook too. But these are things that I know that I do, and I put them into my calendar. I know it seems silly to put wake up, leave the house, and all of that in your calendar, but it's really helpful when you can look back at your calendar and see, what time did I wake up today? Was I really productive with how I spent my morning? Did I get my journaling in the morning? Did I have my coffee, or am I really crabby? You know, like when you look back 3 weeks later, it's really helpful to see all of the things that you did. Some weekly events that I do is I edit for my podcast. I have a podcast that comes out every Friday at 7 a.m. I need to edit that podcast at some time during the week. I also publish content at least once a week. I need to prepare for that. I also do professional development once a week. Even though I'm an entrepreneur, there's still a lot of things that I need to learn and research and think about. And I put in a block of time every Wednesday afternoon that's just professional development. That's reading white papers, that's looking into training that I can go to doing the training that I've actually paid for. I put a chunk of time in my calendar every week to make sure that I'm really doing it. And then I have some monthly events. The first one that I can think of is at the beginning of every month. You do like your profit and loss statement, and I keep track of like all of my numbers, like my followers on Twitter and basic random numbers like that. So on page 7, I created, can you see? Yeah. I created this little list for you to start thinking about things that you do monthly, weekly, and daily, so that you can start keeping track of all of these things. Take this with you the next few days and start thinking about the things that you only do weekly, but you make sure that you don't forget. Put them down in this section here. Okay, let's get in to my calendar. Starting on page 8, and for the next few pages, I have showed you my ideal day. So I show you my ideal Monday on page 8 and an ideal Tuesday on page 9. So I'm showing you these daily pages, and this is really just right out of my iCal, because I want you to see that I have open space in my calendar for things to come up and things to move around. And I also have big chunks of time. So on Monday, my big chunk of time is writing. I'm not saying that Wednesday I'll be like, no, I'm not writing today. It's not Monday. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that I know when I wake up on Monday, I am spending the majority of that afternoon doing writing in some form or another. Maybe I'm writing a blog post. Maybe I'm writing show notes for my podcast. Maybe I'm writing a syllabus for my next e-course. But I know that Monday afternoon, I'm writing. So that's how I did time blocking for Monday. For Tuesday, there's a big chunk of my day devoted to community, what did I call it? Community. Reading blogs, commenting in blogs. As a blogger, this is really important for me. I need to know what other people are doing, and I need to keep up with all of these things. So I schedule it in twice a week. I do it on Tuesday and I do it on Thursday. This is when I go into other people's blogs, be really supportive, see how I can help, all of that. That's really important for my job, so I schedule it in twice a week. It doesn't need to be every day. Every day would I don't know, if I did it every day, it would probably only take, 20 minutes. But if I only do it twice a week, then I can do it all at once. And then I'm not wasting 20 minutes going off here. And then I get lost in a blog and then, 5 clickbaits later and I'm taking a BuzzFeed quiz, But if I have contained it all in one, then I know what I'm doing. And if I do get lost in a BuzzFeed quiz, it's not the end of the world because that's what I was doing at the moment. Does that make sense? Okay. So flip the page again to page 10. And this is an ideal week. So this is what my whole week looks like. I personally look at my calendar on a weekly basis. I don't look daily. I like to see weekly because, as you can tell, I'm a planner. So I like to see what's coming. But this is an ideal week for me. This shows where I can move things around to because I already have blank space filled in. This shows things that I can expect for myself. And this shows things that I potentially would have coming up in the future. At the very top, you can see that I have a couple of things written like what's it say, Huffington Post? Yeah, so a Huffington Post article, Tuesday the 28th, that's in my reminder calendar, and that's just something like, oh yeah, don't forget to go into the Huffington Post and submit an article for today. And then I have blog post on Wednesday. I do a podcast episode on Friday. So those are just reminders at the top of my calendar of things that are kind of happening in the background. But then there is the whole week view, the holistic week of what I'm doing. And this really seems nice and it's pretty and it makes me feel good about myself whenever I look at it. But then there's what happens in real life. And let's look at a real week. A real week is on page 11. This is what a real week for me looks like. I don't get up at 7:30 every day. I mean, like, I want to get up at 7:30 every day. Like, I'm tired sometimes, and I don't want to. And, I'm an entrepreneur, so I do what I want. So I move things around. If I don't get up when I say that I'm going to get up, then I move things around. As you can see on this Wednesday, this particular Wednesday, I got up afternoon. And, I don't like to talk about it at cocktail parties, but that's my reality. And I'm not going to lie, and I'm going to be very honest with how I spend my time and what I do. So I have the really pretty calendar. I have the ideal calendar that I do every week, and that's great, and it's really helpful. But then I make my calendar real, and I move things around, and I add things in, and I delete things that aren't going to work for me, and I do what's real. I show myself the real things that I'm doing. By looking at this now, when was this? Mid-April. What is it now? June 6th. Looking at this now, I can go back and see drastic patterns from looking at this calendar. For example, you can see that after I do something, I need a break. And I usually take a break by getting up and walking around, socializing, go getting a bag of M&Ms, or playing on Facebook. Like, that's what I do to take a break. Maybe you go get coffee. Maybe you walk around your office. Whatever it is you do, it doesn't matter. But for me, this is how I take a break. And you can see that I don't lie to myself, and I put that into my calendar. So Monday afternoon, I went to lunch, and then I checked my email and played on Facebook. And then I did some writing, and then I checked my email and played on Facebook. And then I did some brainstorming, and I took a break. That probably meant that I left the office, like walked away. And then I checked my email, and I played on Facebook. And then I did more work. So look, when I'm really honest with myself, I can look back and see patterns in what I do. And I do it all day, and I do it every day. This is really helpful for me because I can really plan my time well, and I get way more self-awareness when I know what actually works for me. I know that I can't work 6 hours straight. My brain just doesn't work like that. I'll get bored. I'll get distracted. I need it to close down that part of my brain, do something else for a second, and then move on to a different task. I can't just go one task to the next. It's not how I operate. And because I keep track of my time, I see that. And then I'm not going to lie to myself, and I can really plan how I'm going to spend my day when I know what my patterns are. So that's really important. Okay. So we talked about time blocking. We talked about keeping whole chunks on your day. Now let's talk about a task manager and how you can integrate a task manager into your life. So on page 12 and 13 are visuals from my personal task manager. This is what it looks like. It's a Moleskine. You probably got it at Barnes & Noble. Oh, Barnes & Noble. Miss Barnes & Noble. And there is a weekly to-do where they, the good people at Moleskine, like, wrote in Monday, June 6th. And then they give me all of this blank stuff over here. I use these blank pages to write in reminders to myself. Follow up with Michael regarding blog. Did Haley write me back? Do I want this person on my podcast? Did Adrian make an appointment for the podcast? Like, I wrote these in probably 2 weeks ago. I sent someone an email. I need them to write me back, but I want to move their email out of my inbox. But I need to remember, oh, did they really write me back? Did they really do what I asked them to do? If not, I'll send them a reminder. And if they do, I'll remember and just cross it off the list. So that's how I use these blank pages. On the daily pages, I don't know if you can guess, but I write in the daily things that I need to do for that day. So like draft a LinkedIn article, draft a Huffington Post article, schedule July's social media, set up my Aweber for different things. I write in the exact things that I need to do every single day so that I'm not overwhelmed. If I flip a couple pages to June 20th, the week of June 20th, I've already written things in. Don't forget that these are the things that you want to do on June 20th. And then I have notes to myself over here. It's been about 6 months since you've updated something on your blog. Do you want to update that? You could add this. You could add this. Who knows when I wrote that in, but I was probably thinking, oh, that'll be a good thing for you to check in on 6 months after you did it. So I made a little note to myself, and then I'll be able, on June 20th, I'll be able to go back in and remember that I needed to do it. I also made a note to myself, did you get your final VA payment? Because I want money. I want to make sure that I don't forget somebody owes me money. It's a good thing to write down. So I don't have to think, oh, I wonder if that ever happened. I hope I remember. I just write it down for 2 weeks later. Yeah. Let me see if I have something else. I bet I do. Yeah, okay. August 15th. I made a note to myself. Do you want to reschedule September's first Monday workshop? Apparently, this September, this workshop would be on Labor Day. Not great for people that live in America and celebrate Labor Day. So I made a note to myself, God knows when, to look at that and make sure that I'm not forgetting. And I want to start thinking about that the week of August 15th. So I make notes to myself so that I never forget anything. Anything. And I don't have to remember, oh, there's that one thing that I need to do in 3 weeks. It's done and it's taken care of. So that's the beauty of the task manager. So your calendar time blocking is the general way that you're spending your day. Your task manager, whatever you choose to do, I happen to use paper and pen. Those are the daily things that you need to do, the daily things that you're checking off, the very, very specifics. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Okay. Oh, I just splashed my gloves. I'm a classy girl. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So page 12 and 13, you can see my real, I just made a photocopy of my calendar. Feel free to use this however you'd like. Now we have to talk about how to make this meaningful in your life. Because it doesn't matter if you do it all, but it doesn't, but it doesn't work for you. So how can you make it meaningful? Number one, shows you how to stay on track. If it's Monday and I'm, writing, and then I need to go online because I'm pretty sure that Joy and I talked about something that I wanted to talk about in a Facebook message, and then I get online, and then I look at our message, and then it's her birthday, and so I have to send her a Facebook message about that. And then, my email clings, and, it's BuzzFeed, and they have this new app to let me know if I'm more of a Chloe or Courtney. And, I have to take it.